Good evening, everyone. I now call to order the Thursday, June 26, 2025 meeting of the City of Sugar Land Planning and Zoning Commission. We will move to item 4A, consideration of an action on the minutes of the May 6, 2025 joint City Council and P&Z Commission meeting. Any comments on the minutes?
Public comment first.
I'm sorry?
We don't have anyone signed up for public comment.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's first.
Yes.
Well, let me start with item 2, public comment. Do we have anyone signed up for a public comment? Hearing no, we'll go on to item 4A, consideration of an action on the minutes. Any comments on the minutes? I've got a motion to approve.
Second.
I've got a second from Commissioner Smith. We're hand voting tonight. That passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Item 5, facts, findings, and recommendation. Recommendation on proposed fiscal year 2026 to 2030 capital improvement program. We will hear some reports and move to consideration of action. Who's first?
Good evening, Commissioners. I am Robert Wilson, Assistant City Engineer. I'm here to talk to y'all tonight on the consideration and action for the recommendation of the proposed fiscal year 26 through fiscal year 2030 capital improvement program to the members of City Council. So the goal of this is to review the draft list of the new projects. This occurs because of the city charter, section 5.1. We are required to receive input from the Planning and Zoning Commission, so we are here before you tonight. Some notes before we get started on the project list. This is a draft list until City Council approves. There is no reference to funding. It is not fiscally constrained, and the sources come from City Council, city staff, PERs, studies, master plans, assessments, development agreements, citizen civic groups, and regulatory mandates. The project categories are airport drainage. We used to have streets and traffic. We've combined that under mobility for this year. Municipal, parks, surface water, wastewater, and water. So getting into some of the projects here, airport new projects, we have the rental car and vertiport parking lot design and construction. So that's an expansion project of the existing airport parking area. Then there's a admin and building terminal renovation in the southeast. Yes, sir.
Can I stop you 1 second?
Absolutely.
Council, I work for the company that is on site at the airport, the rental car company. Am I okay to sit through this, or do I need to step away?
Why don't you continue and you and I
Okay.
And then the Southeast Development Feasibility Study and Design, which looks at the southeast area of the airport for future development. Those projects all occur here at the Sugar Land Regional Airport. Drainage projects. We have the State Highway 6 and Brook Street drainage modifications. This was one. These are all general obligation bond projects from the 2024 bond. The Chatham and McAllister drainage modifications, the Austin Parkway drainage modifications, which is from the Lid Channel out to approximately Mesquite Drive in front of the middle school there, and then citywide drainage studies, which has to do with some modeling and analysis around the city in response to flooding events. Those locations are here. So we have Brook Street drainage here at Highway 6. We have the Chatham and McAllister in the Telfair neighborhood, and the Austin Parkway drainage in front of the middle school there. Mobility projects, this is going to be a pretty long list. So it's Bernie and Main Street sidewalk widening. This is from 7th Street from 7th Street to Stadium Drive along Bernie and Main. Austin Parkway reconstruction phase 1 and phase 2, which are going to run Those are going to run from Lexington Boulevard to Williams Trace and Williams Trace to Commonwealth for those 2 phases. We have our major street rehab, which is general panel replacement and reconstruction of streets around the city on those major roadways. We have the mobility program project implementation, which is looking at investments into AI and infrastructure related to traffic and getting people around the city. We have the Dulles Avenue sidewalk widening and pedestrian bridges. That's going to be along Dulles Avenue near the existing Oyster Creek trails. And then we have Sweetwater Boulevard Phase 1 and Phase 2, which runs from Austin Parkway to Palm Royale and Palm Royale to Town Center. Lexington Boulevard reconstruction Phase 1 and Phase 2, which run from Austin Parkway and to Highway 6 and Oxbow to Austin Parkway along Lexington Boulevard. Settlers Way Boulevard reconstruction, which is running from Highway 6 to Austin Parkway. Lake Point to Town Center connection, Sugar Land Town Center connection, which is looking at how we provide feasible solutions to address pedestrian and bicycle mobility between the 2 activity centers on each side of 59. And then the trail system connections, additional routes and sidewalk widening, which looks at connecting some of the missing sidewalks around the city to increase pedestrian connections. Those projects are here on this map. Municipal projects, we have one from the general obligation bond in 2024 that is the field maintenance facility project, which looks at designing and constructing field operation maintenance facility, including workspace for different city operations. That project is here on the map. That's at our Public Works campus. Parks new projects, we have the Parks rehabilitation project. So this looks at some of the aging assets and park facilities around the city and invests in replacing those assets and upgrading those parks. So that is a citywide project. Surface water new projects, we have the surface water treatment plant new expansion. We have the surface water treatment plant expansion transmission lines, which helps us get the water from the surface water plant over to the connection points. The surface water treatment plant expansion groundwater plant improvements, which improves the groundwater plant so we can put that surface water into them. Surface water treatment plant rehab phase 2, which is a general rehab of the surface water treatment plant as that plant ages. Public Works utility building and the south of the Brazos reclaimed water transmission line to Greatwood. Additionally, we have the North Wastewater Treatment Plant reuse preliminary engineering report, so looking at reuse potentials that come off of the effluent treated off the North Wastewater Treatment Plant. Reclaimed water south of the Brazos Phase 2, which is expanding that reclaim facility south of the river. And the surface water project contingency, which looks at establishing additional funding in relation to inflation and changing project costs. So those projects are here on the list, or on the map, sorry. Our surface water treatment plant projects, our Public Works building, the North Wastewater Treatment Plant, PER, and then our south of the Brazos facilities. Wastewater new projects. We have the South Wastewater Treatment Plant odor control improvements construction, which establishes odor control at the South Wastewater Treatment Plant. We have lift station generator quick connects, which is looking at allowing our lift stations to be connected quickly to generators, portable generators at those sites in the case of a power outage. South of the Brazos Wastewater Treatment Plant diversion, which is bringing that wastewater from the Greatwood facility to this new South of the Brazos Regional Wastewater Facility. Collection system rehab, which is a yearly maintenance program on the wastewater collection system. Lift station rehab program, which is a yearly maintenance that we do on the lift stations for the city. And south of the Brazos wastewater plant, Greatwood wastewater decommissioning. So that's removing the Greatwood wastewater plant after the regional plant is available. We also have wastewater treatment plant improvements, which is a yearly maintenance project to address any needs at those wastewater plants around the city. South of Brazos Wastewater Treatment Plant Phase 2, which looks at an expansion of that new facility south of the Brazos. The North Wastewater Treatment Plant Phase 1 and Phase 2A, which has to do with some general rehab of the North Wastewater Treatment Plant as it continues to age, and a wastewater project contingency to address those changing project funding needs. So looking at the map here, we have a significant number of citywide projects that have to do with the maintenance piece, our North Wastewater Treatment Plant, South Wastewater Treatment Plant, and the South of the Brazos facilities. Water new projects, we have the construction of the elevated storage tank rehab, which is a rehabilitation of the elevated storage tank up at Industrial. Then we have water south of the Brazos, water line connection to Greatwood construction. So that's connecting the new water facilities south of the Brazos into the Greatwood subdivision. Groundwater plant right angle drive replacement, which is a rehab of the existing right angle drives at groundwater plants. The groundwater building improvements, which looks at general maintenance of the groundwater buildings to keep those buildings functioning. Well rehab, which is a yearly maintenance program to keep the water wells operational. Groundwater plant rehab, which is a yearly maintenance program for those groundwater plants. And SCADA improvements, which is a yearly program to keep the SCADA, which is the supervisory control and data acquisition network for the city that keeps us talking to our water systems. Additionally, we have the ground storage tank rehab. So that's a yearly maintenance program to keep ground storage tanks operational for the city's water system. The water distribution system rehabilitation, which is an annual program to keep the water lines serviced. The Public Works building, which is the utilities building that we discussed under the surface water plants. There'll be additional funding through the water system or the water projects, and elevated storage tank rehab and design of additional elevated tanks through a maintenance program. Water south of the Brazos Phase 2, which looks at the expansion of the new water facilities south of the Brazos, and a water project contingency to address those changing needs in project funding. With that, there's the map here with our, that's the industrial tank up here. We have our Public Works building, a series of the citywide rehabilitations, and our south of the Brazos facilities. So with that, we would like to request the Planning and Zoning Commission to recommend the FY26 through FY30 capital improvement program new project list to the city manager and city council. And any questions?
Questions for staff? Go ahead. Mary?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. One clarification I had, because I know in the beginning it's like this doesn't include any of the monetary costs for any of these items, but when this is presented to council,
Yes, ma'am.
will they be given like a priority list from what the staff believes should be the priorities on these and the costs, so that if they have to make decisions, it will be easier than just with this list?
Yes, ma'am. So when it's presented to council, it goes with the budget at the same time. So when it's taken forward, they can see the budget constraints to the projects as well.
Okay. And the other question I had is on the mobility item. It's the one for Lake Point to Sugarland Town Center connection. It's the CMB 3001. So you mentioned that this is just a feasibility study to address the mobility between the two activity centers, but you also mentioned that this is, along with this, is a feasibility study for the gondola. And I know this has been sort of a topic among Sugarland in general, particularly during this election cycle. So, you know, I guess it's just to be clear, is this going to be is this still on the table for something that Sugarland's looking at or not? Because I think during the last few months, I've heard that it was off the table. So this would mean that there's still, some thoughts that this may occur.
Hello, I'm Jessie Lee, city engineer. That project on the list to investigate options, to evaluate whatever options, because we do have a physical barrier, along 59 and Highway 6, how we get across, especially without a car. So it is a challenge. In the past, we did evaluate a option, we call area gondola system, not on the ground, but in the air. We did a feasibility study 2 years ago. So we haven't moved forward with anything else because funding is a challenge. And also, we haven't do a whole lot public outreach, what the community really want to have. So those are not really saying it's going to move forward or not moving forward. We just had a very preliminary study to evaluate the concept at the time. And this project is to do more further options, is that the option or other options? Maybe create some bridge crossing or sidewalk connection. There's many things we could investigate and to evaluate. So at this point, we don't know the solution, what that will be. Yeah.
It's just that this may still be an option that's on the table.
I'm not
Depending
sure.
upon the feasibility.
Yeah, feasibility, and other feasibility study might have a better solution, might be that's still a better solution.
Okay.
So we don't know.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure, thank you.
I had one quick clarification. On the wastewater item CWW 2404, lift station generator quick connects, again, piggybacking off of Commissioner Smith's point on the gondola, another hot button thing for our city was the power plant and that whole thing. There's some mention of replacing the existing backup systems with emergency power generation. Can you describe what form and what function that would take in terms
So
of?
the lift
net new?
station generator quick connect project stems kind of from that same issue of not reliable power. And so with a lot of what the city saw during Beryl is the mass power outage and not being able to turn on some lift stations. So what this project does is it allows us to bring a portable generator out to a site and plug it in and get the lift station running while we're waiting for the power, rather than providing a generator at every single lift station. So it's balancing the city's assets with the overall cost.
Perfect. Thank you. That's it.
Savannah, any questions? A couple. I feel like I should ask a couple since you're asking us for, feedback. Okay. I think I asked this last year, so I'm going to ask it again. But how do things get onto this list?
So this list, and we actually provided that this year, kind of on the side of this with the project reference. So they come from various different things like city council input, resident input, agreements, asset management strategies, studies, various different ways that those projects can come
And
on.
is there a way to see things that that didn't make it onto the list?
We can provide what would be there. There's a general 10-year planning document that more of those pieces lay out in looking at how the rates build and how funding goes in for those projects. So.
Sure, but I assume what happens here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the different departments get together, or at least maybe it's cross-functional by the categories that we see here, and you have some internal discussions about what things that you want to put forth on the plan. Some things make it onto there and some things don't make it on there. So I guess my question is that whatever that kind of drill down level is, whether it's by department or whether it's by category on here, is it possible just to see some of the things that were discussed but that weren't prioritized? I don't mean to say that in a pejorative way, but just that didn't make it on the list for whatever reason. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's something that we could provide to the commission. Yes.
Okay, awesome. I think the mobility questions were good on the gondola, as were AP's questions on the power. I'll ask one just on parks. So on the Parks Rehabilitation Project, which is CPK 2701, the the description is basically rehabilitate existing parks, and then you list most of the parks where you would do that. Can you give any more, and I understand this may be a very property-specific endeavor, but can you give some general points as to what it means to rehabilitate the park, since that's the only
Absolutely.
detail that we're getting?
Absolutely. So this project can include a lot of different things like sports lighting that needs to be replaced, brought up to current standards. It could be replacement of playground structures or additional trails into those parks, adding some new items to those parks to be able to bring more to the residents to do in those parks. It could be replacement of parking areas that have failed or storm drainage to improve what's existing out there at those parks. So there's a lot of different things depending on which park we're referencing.
Okay, thank you very much. And if I knew what you were here for, I'd ask a question about your thing too, so everyone can, no, I saw you get up when he was talking about parks. You ready to come down? All right, that's all the questions we have. Any other questions for staff? Okay, then I will make a motion that we make a recommendation of approval to City Council for the fiscal year 2026-2030 capital improvement program. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I've got a second from AP. Any further discussion? All right, we're hand voting, and that passes 5-0. Thank you very much, staff. Thanks for all and by the way, thank you for your presentation, Robert, and thanks to everyone on staff who was involved in the process of getting the things from the conceptualization phase to the way we see it here. I know there were a lot of hands that touched that, so thank you to everyone for the work and for crystallizing it in a form that even folks like us up here on the dais can understand. We appreciate it. We will move on to item 6A, Planning and Zoning Commission Liaison Report from the June 3rd City Council meeting.
That's me. So on June 3rd, it was a consent agenda, so not too much on that one. And on the 17th, there was another consent agenda. It was also at the time that we swore in the new mayor and 2 new council members.
Right, who we want to congratulate
Yes.
and wish best wishes and good luck.
So we
Very
have a full new council now. Pretty much. Two people from our old council. 2? 4 new people, but
4,
2, that's why I'm saying 2 people that were there before, other than the mayor, that's the mayor. 3? Mayor was there before. Yeah, I'm seeing council. Tomato, yeah. That's it for me.
Thank you for your attention to this matter. Item 6B, City Staff Report.
Good evening, Commission. I want to let you know that your next meeting is going to be July 8th. We will have a plat and a conditional use permit on that agenda. I also want to thank all of you for getting back to us about the Texas APA conference and getting those plans solidified. We appreciate that very much. And I would like to wish you a happy 4th of July since we were not going to see you to the 8th. I hope you have a safe and a fun holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. One other thing that I'll mention before we adjourn is, as you may recall, there were 2 plats that we recently approved with conditions. I was asked to come in this week and sign both of those plats. And I want to commend city staff, particularly Jessica. And when I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to remember all of the conditions, and the plats were there. I had the old plat. I had the list of the conditions that we voted on that were required for approval. We went through them one by one. I verified they were on the new plat, and then the other one was that one had to be signed before the other. And so that was all well done and well put together. I appreciated that. And those plats are signed. And we were told time was of the essence, so I hope work is underway. Anything else? All right, I'll move to adjourn. Is there a second? And I've got a second. We are adjourned. Good night, everyone.